All right, let's review the order of operations before we begin working a few problems using them. Now, don't forget, and I have it written out here, if you need to pause the video and write, you absolutely can. Remember, we always do parentheses and grouping symbols first. Now, grouping symbols could be things like absolute value bars, brackets, braces. These are all types of grouping symbols. So what's inside those grouping symbols or the parentheses needs to be done first. Now, second, we deal with exponents. And then, once those are completed, we talk about multiplication and division. Now, multiplication and division is where everybody starts getting a little bit off track with order of operations. Remember, we do not do all the multiplication and then all the division. That is not correct. You do the multiplication and division as you see them, left to right. So, for instance, if you were to have a problem that said something like 10 divided by 5 times 2, in this case we would do the division first and then the multiplication, because they work left to right. Really and truly, division is just going backwards from multiplication. So they're really the exact same operation. One is just frontwards and the other is backwards. So we don't use either one of them as being more important than the other one. That's why we always work at them left to right. Now, same thing for addition and subtraction. We always work those left to right also. So, for instance, again, if we were to have a problem that said 5 minus 3 plus 2, we would have to do the subtraction first because it appears first. It's on the left. All right, let's do a couple here real quickly, and then we'll get into some more difficult problems. Here we have one that says negative 3 squared. Now notice that the square, if it were to reach out and touch something, the closest thing to it is the parenthesis. That tells us exactly what's being squared. That means that we are multiplying negative 3 times negative 3. Times itself, 2 times. So negative 3 times negative 3 would be a positive 9. Now, what happens in this instance where we have negative 3 squared? Well, here, if the square were to reach out and touch something, it's only going to touch the 3 and not the negative. So with this, we are literally doing negative 3 times 3. The 3 is what's being squared, not the negative. So we would have to do our multiplication first, which would be 9, and then we'd drop our negative sign down, or to say the opposite of 9, which is negative 9. Here in this last one, we have a combination of those things. The square is only on the parenthesis, so we would have negative on the outside, and then the negative 3 times the negative 3. Now, negative 3 times negative 3 would be a positive 9, but we would drop down our negative, so that would be negative 9.